Well, I can't believe we're finally here, but this is the last video of this series. The backpack is complete, as you can see, and it's only been about a year and a half in the making, from design to finish, but it's been a hell of a process. I've learned a ton. Actually, this was my first real sewing project, so it's been definitely a learning experience. It's my first time really working with leather, and also working with Ripstop nylon, which was a whole different beast. If you're starting a first sewing project, I would highly recommend not using Ripstop nylon. It looks awesome, it's super strong, it's just so slick. It moves on itself really easily, and so layering things and sewing them together took forever because you have to basically just clamp it with a little, whatever they're called, what are those things called? Clips, basically. And so that was one thing that was really a nightmare. If you use the heavier material, it'll just be easier to sew together. Also, it doesn't have a lot of structure because it's such lightweight and such thin material. It does not hold up on its own very well. So I had to put a bunch of foam in here to just give the backpack actual structure, especially when it's not full or it's entirely empty. Otherwise, it just crumple in a little pile. So yeah, it's turned out pretty well. When it comes to the design of the backpack, it all kind of centers around a theme of the chevron pattern, which is basically the slant that you kind of see right here in the center with the two zippers. Initially thought it'd be kind of fun to do that, and I kind of mimicked that pattern throughout the whole backpack. So you can see it initially here with the two zippers slanting down, then right above it with the leather for the latching strap. The zipper ties have it. Down here at the bottom of the pack, you have that as well. The same slope is actually carried around to the edges, where you have the same slope for the water bottle holders as well as the sweatshirt straps. You even have it on the front panel or the back panel. I still don't know which one it is, even after a year. But this panel I've sewn in the same chevron, exact same angle, and then cut it into the leather as well. So that's just a reoccurring pattern that I really kind of thought was cool, and it's a cool way of tying all four sides of the backpack into one. So that's where I kind of started. From there, I added in all kinds of different pockets and different accessories. This backpack was designed for my little brother. He is a high schooler but soon to go to college, and I wanted to make sure he had enough basically capacity to carry any sort of college books, any sort of sweatshirts, sports materials, anything he might need like that, water bottles. So in the very front you have a little, this kind of will show off some of the capacity. You have a laptop holder, a laptop charger holder, and so it's right in there. It has a little magnetic close to it, so it keeps it closed when your laptop's in there. Right below that, actually, I did a design specifically requested by him. If you can take a look at that, I want to know how many people actually recognize that pattern. It's from a relatively popular television show. That's the hint. But if you know what it is, comment below. I want to see how many people get it right. Beyond that, you have an extra pocket right up here. This is just a free-floating pocket, so about 3 by 4 inches. I was thinking for earbuds, other kind of things like that, maybe an external mouse, simple things just to throw, a little place to throw things. On the other side, we have another pocket right here. This one actually has pen sleeves in it, so it's 6 pen sleeves, 3 of which are a little bit larger for either Sharpies or heavier duty pens, then a couple normal mechanical pencil or ballpoint pen sleeves. On both sides, we have water bottle holders or pockets for anything you might need them for. Specifically, in this case, I designed it for an Nalgene because I loved having an Nalgene in college. It holds a ton of water, lasts you all day. So it fits the Nalgene. We also have a sweatshirt strap that is also great for clamping on that Nalgene to keep it there, just in case it starts to slip. That's on both sides of the back as well. As you've noticed, there's leather across the whole bottom, so even if it's put down on a relatively scratch-inducing environment like concrete, or if it's just kind of dragged around, or even just is used like normal, it will hold up. Ripstop is one of the strongest materials you can get, especially proportional to its weight, but it doesn't do well with sharp objects or anything that it can snag on. That's where its quality deteriorates really quickly because it is so thin. It doesn't take much to rip right through it. From actual like abrasive perspective, from like a strength perspective, it's one of the strongest materials you can use. So that's kind of why I used it. I also thought it looked pretty slick. A little bit more information about the materials I used for this backpack. It is primarily made out of Ripstop nylon, which is the black and the white material. The black is all PU Ripstop, which is polyurethane. I think that's the proper PU, I think is the right term. But it's waterproof, so you can pour water on it, it'll repel right off. The white stuff isn't. I probably should have gotten it with the poly layer on it just to keep this waterproof. I didn't expect this much of it to be exposed. Below it is a layer of the black Ripstop, so it won't go in and destroy your stuff, but it will get a little bit more wet than the black. The vast majority of the backpack is made out of the black. I just really wanted a contrast of colors. I thought if this whole panel was also black, it'd just be kind of like a little black rectangle, and I wanted to have a little bit of just contrast between the leather, the black, and the white. So that's why I went with that. Beyond that, I used a variety of different types of nylon webbing. I think this is 1.5 inches. On the side, this is 3/4 inch. I think, yeah, so I used 1.5 and 3/4 inch. And then obviously I used leather. This is, I think it's from, I don't remember where I even got it, but it's top grain. I think, I want to say like 16-ounce leather. Don't quote me on that, but I was able to sew through it with my sewing machine. I also used the Juki, as you saw in the videos, to get through some of it. I'm just going to go faster. My personal sewing machine actually was able to sew through with a leather needle. I just had to take it slow. I also do have an old, I think 70s sewing machine that's really sturdy. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend trying that with your own newer sewing machine, especially if it's not rated for anything particularly heavy duty. You can also use other materials other than leather to give the base a little bit more strength. I just had this leather on hand and I thought it'd be kind of a cool transition. Going back to the capacity conversation, inside I really filled this up to kind of just show what we're capable of holding in it. So we already got the computer charger, the water bottle, but on the inside, we got a whole nother set of things. I'd say you probably could fit at least another sweatshirt or two in here before it's at full capacity. I just didn't see the need to like completely max it out. So you got a windbreaker / down jacket, a light down jacket, a sweatshirt. I fit 4 of my biggest textbooks I still have. And then of course, you gotta check out the laptop sleeve and make sure it fits the laptop. The sleeve is double insulated, so there's a foam layer between the laptop and anything in the backpack, as well as another foam layer between your back and the laptop. So there's 2 layers of foam running like that. Other foam that I did input were in each side panel. It just really was floppy, kind of like as you see up here. It just, that's Ripstop for you. It's such a thin material. It doesn't really have a lot of structure on its own. So I had to assist it with a panel of foam on this side and the other. And then I also added a foam panel into this pocket as well. It just gives the whole pocket a little bit more strength, and I thought it was necessary to really keep the shape and the kind of aesthetic of the backpack. The last thing I want to touch base on is the latch I use. This is a Cobra buckle by Austria Alpin. It is a military grade, I think cast aluminum buckle, but it is incredibly strong. Like just as soon as you hear it click, you have a really secure bag. I think it's used for parachuting and other sort of very heavy loads. I can guarantee I couldn't break this if I wanted to. So you know your backpack's not going to come undone. It's definitely overkill for an application like this. They also make them in plastic and some other materials that are cheaper. I just really like the mechanism itself. Worst case scenario, I toss the backpack, I can still cut off this buckle and keep it. This thing will last a lifetime, to put it lightly. And especially under such light test. But I think it's a pretty cool mechanism, and it's just really fun to play with, honestly. It's just quite satisfying. So beyond that, I used plastic buckles for the sides. The one thing I did cheat on for this backpack, I did end up buying these straps. Not because I didn't have a plan for how to make them. I just happened to be at a consignment store, and I think the factory must have closed because they're selling hundreds of these for $1 a piece. And I know that these were well manufactured. They have really good foam in the center. I think they're old REI backpacking straps, and so they're really comfy. They're the right size, and I felt like I was cheating, but at the same time, this is my first real sewing project, and I was kind of just desperate to get it done for my little brother. So I decided to go with pre-made backpack straps. I think if I did it again, I would make my own so they fit the aesthetic a little bit better. I actually had to dye these ones. I used can't remember what type of dye I used, but I used a synthetic material to dye because I knew that these were polyester and nylon. And you can see that the straps, they're both a light gray, and you can see that the straps are nylon, and they took to the dye a lot better than polyester, which is the rest of the strap, the background and the foam. But overall, I think the aesthetic held up pretty well. It's my first real project like this, so I think by the end I was just kind of ready to be done and get it to my little brother who needs a backpack. So thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed watching me make it from, man, it looks a little deflated, but thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed watching me make them in the 2 previous videos, and I hope you're excited to see what comes next. Honestly, I'm not exactly sure what it is, so if you have any good ideas, please feel free to comment, give me any recommendations. Right now it's a toss-up between doing a restoration on an old hatchet head I have, or building out a big duffel bag, potentially out of a billboard, like an old billboard, something like that. So I'm all ears. If you enjoyed this video, please like and don't forget to subscribe. And I think that's it for today, but thanks again and have a great rest of your day.